Hey folks, this is BestInSlot. Welcome back to Jurassic World Evolution 2, and today we're going to finally continue our new species rankings. We're going to fold in all those new dinosaurs. It's worth noting we haven't done this since actually before the Camp Cretaceous pack, so there's going to be a couple of changes along the way. I've gone through and I've kind of changed up the entire list, so I'm a little bit happier with the whole thing now. But let's find out where the new skins, where the new variants, and where the new species come into our overall rankings. I'd love to hear your rankings down below in the comment section as well. Let's get started. Okay, and first on our list is the brand new skin for the Dilophosaurus. It's worth noting probably the least impactful of the new skins and the new variants and stuff like that. So Dilophosaurus is going to move up a little bit in the rankings, but not by too much. I will show you an image at the end of the video showcasing all the new rankings in their entirety, but I believe Dilophosaurus is now in 34th position. I've got to say, I do actually really like this new skin. I think the colour combinations here on the body in particular, that kind of slightly Giga-esque colouring with those lighter greys, kind of pockmarked by these stripes of dark grey, is a really nice, really cool looking colour combination. There's no changes to the model, but then you get this like sunset burst here on the frill as well, and on the crest and on the frill when it opens up, and I think it's just a really nice skin. At the end of the day, it's only a single skin. It's not going to do too much to the dinosaurs rankings, but it feels quite different than the default Dilophosaurus just because of the different patterning and the entirely different colour combinations. So Dilophosaurus goes up a little bit, but not too much. Hopefully we're going to see the frill here. There you go. What a beauty. Next up on our list is the Tyrannosaurus Rex, which comes with two new skins. We've got this scarred variant. You can see here all these scars down here, around here as well, although they're kind of in the shadow a little bit. And of course we also have the 65 million years ago version with the fluffiness on the top, which is the more dramatic of the two skins, it must be said. Whoop. Whoa. So the Rex is, I don't know, I go back and forth on the Rex. I see it here and I think, you know what, it actually looks pretty cool. But Rex is currently in 23rd position in my list. The new skins don't do too much for me. This one I actually quite like. I think this is quite effective. I think this is a really nice iteration of the... It kind of looks... I'll give you a second. It kind of feels like an older, scarred, battle-worn Rexy. If I'm honest, I don't really like the fluffy skin. I know that might be a little bit controversial, I suppose. People seem enamored with it, but I don't like it at all. That's not a slight against Frontier. I just think the combination of the Jurassic Park Rex, which isn't too unrealistic, but has that shrink-wrapped kind of look, and I'm also very familiar with it, plus the feathery furriness just doesn't quite work for me. However, the same cannot be said for the Pyroraptor, who is making a triumphant leap up the rankings. It was in about 40th or something like that, 50th, it was lowish down, it was in the higher realms of the lower half, and the new Pyro is now sitting in 18th position. It's worth noting this does include the Lux skins from Camp Cretaceous, because I hadn't ranked it since then as well. But this new Pyro is not just a skin in the way that the Dilophosaurus one is, but it does change the model. The body in general is just so much thicker. It's a lot thicker down here at the base of the tail in particular, and then you get to the head, and the head is where the real changes come in. You know, there's this musculature here underneath the crest, the beak shape has changed entirely, and the skin itself is absolutely beautiful. It's really, really attractive. And not only do we get one skin like this, but we get three. It'd be really nice if these variants and other models had more skin variation, and the Parasaur at least pulls that off, unlike, say, the variants we're about to see in just a second. love those sound effects. So, moving up by loads, but not to like a high position necessarily, is Dreadnoughtus. Now, Dreadnoughtus was my second least favourite dinosaur in the game. I really do not like the default Jurassic World Evolution Dreadnoughtus. So it was in 83rd or whatever before I'd updated these rankings. The new Dreadnoughtus is up into 61st, so it actually gained like 30 places, 20 places, that's maths. It gained about 20 plus places. So it's moved up a lot, but it's still in the lower half. And there's a few reasons for that. It's worth pointing out the good things first of all. The texture and the musculature here on the neck is really nice. I love the skin pattern. I think it's really effective. That dark, cold blue with that sort of brown striping down it. I prefer the new head shape, I prefer the new leg shape. They look really strong and grrr, like it's been very much not skipping leg day. I'm not a big fan of the feet, and one of my major problems with it is over here, and the eye just, I don't know what it is, it just freaks me out. It just looks weird to me. I can't get past it. But, yeah, I really like the new neck shape as well. I think this is a really nice neck shape for the Dreadnoughtus, as opposed to the kind of much more upright one we have by default in Evolution. And it's just humongous as well, which is really cool. It's a single skin, you know, there's not much to it beyond that, and it may, in time, move a little bit further up in my rankings. The more I look at it, the more I like it. The problem is, every time you had this in your game, it would have to look like this Dreadnoughtus, and that just inevitably drops its score a little bit. So the second of our variants is the Giganotosaurus, which has also not really moved up the rankings. It was about 27th, 28th, and in its new in its new place, it's in about 25th. As I say, I'll show you these all at the end. It's worth noting though, this is a very well-made Giganotosaurus, and yes, I will die on the soft G hill. It's got some really nice details. We've got the scarring here at the side. We've got the scarring over on this side. You see that on the lip there. I'll see if I can show you that in a bit more light in just a second, but the scarring on the lip, just like in the film, it's really beautifully patterned, well detailed. It's a really well-made version of the film Giga. You know, it looks exactly like it. It's really effective. How much you like that will depend on how much you like the film Giga. And once again, as much as it's really cool to have these variants, because it's only one skin and one colour, it means it's a little bit less useful, I suppose, in some ways, than the other dinosaurs would be. The Giga also, there you go, there's a scar on the face. The Giga also unfortunately loses points because whilst this is a really well-made skin, and I think it's pretty cool, you know, it started to grow on me a little bit. I kind of wish the hump wasn't there, but beyond that, it's getting there. It kind of loses points because it makes the original Giga worse. I quite like the original Jurassic World Evolution Giga, and it had a really unique social animation, and because that social animation wouldn't work with the variant of the Giga, the social animation has been cut entirely and replaced with one from another large theropod. I think it's called Tyrannosaurus, but I can't quite remember. And the original Giga social anim was one of my favourites in the entire game. I used it as a thumbnail for my social animation video because I really liked it. So it's kind of a shame that this Giga's come in and made the original Giga a worse dinosaur. And that's why the Giga can't really move up the rankings, because whilst this is cool and it's a nice bit of variance, you've made the original dinosaur worse. I really hope they one day find a way to fix that so that we can have both social animations, because it was a big part of what made the original Giga unique. And coming in at number 12 is Dimetrodon, the lowest of the four, but that shows just how good these new species are. I did have Dimetrodon lower initially, but I came back and watched it again, and there's so much to love about the Dimetrodon, there really is. First of all, I think the design has grown on me inherently over time quite a lot. It looks less like a T-Rex than it did in the promotional materials for Dominion. Of course, it's completely unique. It's diapsid in Jurassic World Evolution 2. It's got the really interesting sort of leg formation with the legs sticking out. It's got this social animation that we're about to see, which is one of the best in the entire game. Just a really cute social animation. I want to check something. Have they fixed the clipping? There used to be a clipping issue here. Oh, they fixed it. That used to clip through the front of the sail, so that's been fixed as well, which is really nice. So yeah, fantastic social animation. Some good kills on the human in particular. And I just really like the design, and the way it runs is hilarious, and it's very unique because of the body shape inherently. It loses a couple of points because I don't think the Frontier skin is anything exceptional. We're going to see some fantastic ones in a little bit. And it's fine for the Dimetrodon, but it isn't special. You know, I don't feel like it elevates the Dimetrodon to another level in the way that some of the others will do. Coming in at number 9 is Quetzalcoatlus, which gets loads of points for, well, many different reasons. First of all, it's gigantic. It might be a little bit too big, we'll talk about that in a second. But it's absolutely gigantic, which is really interesting. It just makes it feel completely... It's so much bigger than every other pterosaur in the game that obviously that gives it big bonus points for being utterly unique. And not only that, but the design is beautiful and has come into the game really, really well. We've got that featherage down there that displays out on the tail, those big sort of elephant hippo coloured kind of wings, that sort of burst of blue on the crest, that huge driving beak. Again, beautiful feather coverage here around the face. It's just a really interesting looking design. The Frontier skins are exceptional as well, even better than the 2022 version we're seeing now. They elevate it to another level in my opinion. The animations are fantastic as well. The human kill animation is great. My favourite one is the Ornithomimid kill, which is really good. The medium herbivore kill is really good as well. You know, it's really unique. And it would be higher. I mean, it's already the highest pterosaur in the game. It's top 10, which is great. But it does have a couple of major drawbacks. The first is that it simply feels too big for the aviary. I think the aviary would need to be taller. I mean, yeah. The aviary really needs to be taller to accommodate for this. I can see why they haven't done it, but sort of the ability to place a Quetzal-specific aviary blob would have been really good, one that's like twice the height. That would have felt much more appropriate for the Quetzalcoatlus. And the second is obviously what I talked about the other day on my Quetzal video. The biggest problem for the Quetzal is literally just that it doesn't walk. I know some people might not regard that as a big deal, but for me it's so much of what makes Quetzalcoatlus and other similar Starkids special. And don't get me wrong, most pterosaurs in the game, actually all the pterosaurs in the game should be walking around at least a little bit. But with the Quetzalcoatlus in particular, it feels almost necessary. At the end of the day, one thing that makes these so terrifying and so imposing as creatures is that they were terrestrial hunters. The idea of being chased down on foot by this thing is absolutely terrifying, and is a big reason why I love these larger Starkids in the first place. It's just to have that not in the game in any way whatsoever, and to have it constantly flying, which is just not what they would have done, is for me quite disappointing. But still, I don't want to be overly negative. Other than the walking, which is the big deal, this is a fantastic creature and very deserving of a top 10 spot. And shout out to whoever did the Frontier skins, because they're beautiful. But they're about to get a little bit better. So, coming in at a shock number 2 position on the list, which I guess gives the game away for Therizinosaurus, Pyroraptor claims 2nd place. I initially had it about 5th or 6th, and the more time I spend with it, the more I absolutely love it. I think this is an exceptionally well done dinosaur. It's worth noting that if it was just the 2022 skin, if we didn't have all these Frontier skins, or the Frontier skins weren't so well made, Pyroraptor would probably be more in the maybe 15th, 14th sort of range. The 2022 skin just isn't that good. The Frontier skins, however, are absolutely impeccable. The best skins in the entire game. That's how good they are, and that's a large part of why Pyroraptor is so high for me. They accentuate the feathers in a beautiful way. I mean, look at them. They're fantastically highlighted. There's tons of colours, but they all feel natural. But if you want to go bright green like this one over here, you can do that. If you want those sort of toned down, whoopsie daisy. If you want those toned down sort of creamy colours or the darker colours, we've got those as well. There's huge variety. The pattern breaks up the face. The worst part of the Pyroraptor is the face, and the Frontier pattern breaks it up in a way that just makes it look infinitely better. it's really been elevated by its pattern. It does have some other great qualities as well in the animations. The human kill in particular is really, really good, and really exciting to watch, and really sort of indicative of the Pyroraptor's personality. It uses a little bit of RPR when it's, tackling things. And also the animation when it storms and it clears the water from its feathers is really good as well. Overall, it's exactly what you want from a feathered dinosaur. It's absolutely beautiful, huge variety of colours. The feathers work really well. It has grown so much higher in my estimations just because of those frontier patterns and some great animations. Yeah, I'd be worried too, Giga. So, Therizinosaurus comes in and takes the #1 spot on my list. My official favourite dinosaur in the entire game. And it's worth noting that that's with slightly, I would say, disappointing frontier skins. I don't love the frontier skins for the Theri. They're okay, but they're definitely not on the level of the Pyroraptor or the Quetzalcoatlus. Despite that, and that is really the only drawback I have with the Theri, it gets top marks. It's so freaking weird. Not only for a herbivore, where it's immensely weird, it's unlike anything else in the herbivore roster, of course it is, but it's unlike anything else in the entire game. There's no carnivore that looks anything like this, never mind the herbivores. It is just remarkably unique. I love this. The black feathering again, which is done really, really well. This kind of furry coating with the crimson down the middle. It just looks like a giant vein kind of pulsing underneath it. It's very cool. The head shape's really interesting. Maybe a little bit too angry and dinosaur-y and demonic for my liking for well, not dinosaur-y, it is a dinosaur. But that's the initial design. That's just what the Therizinosaurus looks like. But the texturing is remarkable. The eye is beautiful. I mean, it's leagues above the Dreadnoughtus one. It's just incredible. Those huge, long, black claws, and the general body shape being super weird as well. And it's worth noting, this is a more normalised Therizinosaurus. The Therizinosaurus in reality was even weirder looking than this. By quite a big metric. It would have had much more to the body at the very least. But not only does Therizinosaurus look amazing and look super unique, but the animations are obviously top quality as well. They're all individual, they're all completely brand new. The way it scratches itself, the way it preens itself, just like the Pyroraptor, it shakes off the water in a storm. The kill animations are fantastic, using those giant claws to stab carnivores through the head, basically. And the way it eats as well, where it claws down onto the ground and kind of scoops up foliage in its palm like a weird giant ape. It's not the most accurate dinosaur in the game or anything, but you know what, I really liked it in Dominion, and I really, really like it here, and it feels individual, it feels special, it feels unique, it really stands out in the roster. That means over time it may drop a little bit as that novelty factor falls away, but I just think they've done a really, really, really good job, and I love things that are a bit weird and a bit special, and Therizinosaurus absolutely fills that niche. It's a big, aggressive, intimidating herbivore, which is just not something we have. And look at that neck movement and this little preening animation. Fantastic stuff. So I'm going to bring up my final list. All the new dinosaurs or new skins or new variants or new prehistoric species are highlighted in green so you can see their current position. I've done a little bit of rejigging. Some things I've dropped fairly hard. Pyroraptor in particular, I think, dropped by about 15 places. It's the eye, the human eye on the Pyroraptor, just, I can't get over it anymore. it's ruined me. Spinosaurus dropped a little bit as well. But those are my updated rankings. Things will change over time. You know, I tend to favour the new creatures quite heavily, but I can see Pyroraptor taking #1 spot eventually, honestly. I can see that happening already. It will be a close-fought battle, but it's worth noting just how high most of these creatures are on the list. The new species in particular are all in the top 12, so that really is a shout-out to the designs of Dominion, and also to Frontier's job at bringing them into the game and integrating their own skins and new animations, which are of course not just taken from Dominion. Likewise with the Pyro, which has flown up the list with its new version. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Where would you place these new creatures? You know, what's your favourite of the bunch? What's your least favourite? Blah, 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 blah. Remember, this is all intensely subjective. I'm not trying to be objective. Please don't get annoyed with me. And, yeah, throw me a like if you enjoyed the video. I'll see you lovely folks very, very soon. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you lovely folks next time. Cheers, much love as always. Bye-bye.
Reaching out.